Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Engineering Study, and today we are going to learn some index properties of soil and why these properties are important. In my first lecture, what we have taught that soil has two things. Soil is a porous structure, and number two, soil has solids and voids, and we have to deal all of these things. We have to deal all of these things because in the void two things content, one is air and second is water. That means, and it's a variable quantity, that means one part of the soil, maybe you mixed up 2 gram of water, and one part of same soil you mixed 3 gram of water. That means we can distinguish the soil by its water content. One has 2 gram of water and one has 3 gram of water. And how we will define this term? If two soil has different quantity of water, how we will define this term? This term is called water content. Water content. Water content means it is defined as the ratio of weight of water to the weight of solid present in the soil mass. Water content means weight of water by weight of solid. A soil, if we define a soil by this phase, solid, water and air, then weight of this amount of water may be 2 gram and weight of solid may be 3 gram, then this part is called 2 by 3 is called water content. Now, if water content is 0, that means there is no water. What should it be? That means it is a dry soil. Water content 100%. What does that mean? That means weight of the water, let it guess 3 gram, and weight of solid 3 gram. Okay? And 3 by 3 100%. That means air may be or may not be present in that soil mass. Okay. So, if there is air, some amount of air present in the soil, then it does not mean it is saturated. What is saturated soil? I am coming that after this term. Okay. Just remember one thing. If water content is 100%, air may be or may not be present there. You can't tell by seeing a 100% water content that it is fully saturated. That means there is only water, no air. Okay. Now water content may be greater than 100%. It may be 4 gram, then 4 by 3, 1.33, 130 greater than 100%. Okay. Now, next term is void ratio. First, look at the term void ratio. That means how much void a soil has. How much void a soil has. And it is defined as the ratio of the volume of void to the volume of solid in given soil mass. Okay? Volume of void by volume of solid. And volume of void means volume of water plus volume of air by volume of solid. And volume of void means air and water and volume of solid. Now void ratio should not be equals to 0. That means there is no void. And first thing in my first class, what we have learned, the soil should be solids and void. If no voids are present, then it will be a stone. So void ratio should not be equals to 0. Okay. And next part, it may be greater than 1, and next part it may be less than 1. Okay. Now make a note after this. Note. Write it down. Make a note here. Generally, void ratio is more in fine soil. because number of voids in fine soil is much more than coarse soil for a given volume of soil. However, size of voids are larger in coarse soil. Okay. Write the note here, and what the note signifies that volume of voids in fine soil. Fine soil means small solid particles, and coarse soil means large soil particles. Just look into the picture. There are so many voids in fine soil, but in the coarse grained soil there are 1, 2, 3, 4 voids. So number of voids is much bigger in fine soil, but size of the voids are bigger in coarse grained soil. Okay, make the note here. The next term is porosity. Okay, and what does that term mean? Porosity. In the first lecture, what the first property we have learned, that soil is a porous structure. Soil is a porous structure, and the porosity term comes from there, porous to porosity. Now look, in a soil particle, there must be some void. Okay. And the porosity term deals with the void, and how it is different from void ratio, because void ratio also deal with the void, but as a porous structure, remember my first term, soil is a porous structure. Structure means the whole structure, the whole thing. Okay, that means porosity deal with total volume, the whole structure, total volume, and void ratio deal with only the volume of solid. That means the solid particle acquires the total amount of volume. That is the considering property in case of void ratio. But as porosity, porous thing deal with the total structure, porosity term, the total volume is considered here. Okay. So what is porosity? Porosity means it is defined as the ratio of volume of void to the volume of soil. Volume of void by volume of soil, total volume. So solid, water and air. Solid, water and air. So volume of void means volume of air plus volume of water, and total volume means the whole volume, air plus water plus solid. So it should be between 0 to 100%. But in case of void ratio, E may be greater than 1, that means may be greater than 100%. Okay? Because it deals with the volume of void and volume of solid. Okay? Here volume of void may be greater than the volume of solid. That's why E may be greater than 100%. Very important term in case of exam. Okay? And but porosity, as porosity deals with the total volume, air plus water plus solid. So porosity lies between 0 to 100%. Okay? Now make a note here. Write down a note here. Porosity is defined with respect to total volume of soil. Okay? While void ratio is defined with respect to the volume of solid. Total volume is a variable quantity. but volume of the solid is a fixed quantity, is a constant. Hence, for engineering purpose, void ratio is more useful than porosity. Write down the note here. Now, what does that note means? The note means E, as you know, E equals to volume of void by volume of solid, and porosity equals to volume of void by total volume. Volume of solid means only the solid particle, and it is a fixed quantity. Volume of solid we can't, as it is a solid part, we can't change its shape or its volume by applying load. If we apply load, what happens? The solid particle slides down to the void. Okay, but the amount of solid particle or the size of the solid particle does not change. So, volume of solid is a fixed quantity. But what is happening in case of porosity? As it is deal with the total volume, and if we apply some load, the air may be removed from the soil. That means total volume may change. In a simple form, if we mixed up some water in the soil, total volume may also change. That means total volume is not a fixed quantity, as it is deal with the air, water and solid, and air and water is a variable quantity. Maybe some after a rainfall, much amount of water will be mixed up, then the total volume of the soil also increase. So, for engineering purpose, we generally deal with the void ratio, not porosity. Look here, porosity is equal to volume of void by total volume. Okay? Total volume means volume of void plus volume of solid. Now, if we divide by volume of solid with each term, then dV by Bs by dV by Bs plus Bs by Bs, and volume of void by volume of solid means void ratio E, then E by E plus 1. So, porosity is equal to E by E plus 1. Very important formula in case of competitive exam. Now the term degree of saturation. Degree of saturation means volume of the water by volume of the void. Solid, water and air. And what is the definition of this degree of saturation? That means how much saturate, what quantity of water, how much saturation the soil have. Total volume of water by volume of void. Volume of water by volume of void means volume of air plus water. Okay? It may be 0%, that means there is no water. If water is missing, that soil is called dry soil. If air is missing from the soil, only water, solid and water, then this is called saturated soil. And what does these two things mean? It is a two-phase soil. Two-phase soil. In three-phase soil, soil have solid, water and air. And in two-phase soil, one part that may be air or may be water, one part will be missing. In my first lecture, we have learned that thing, that soil, if water missing, then it is called dry soil. If air missing, then it is called saturated soil. Okay. Now, in the term of water content, weight of water by weight of solid. what the term we have learned here, if water content equals to 100%, it may not be fully saturated. Okay, that means some amount of air may be or may not be present. And now as you have learned what is called the saturation, degree of saturation, you can imagine the term and why I have told you that if water content equals to 100%, it may not be saturated. You will understand now, okay, by learning the term degree of saturation, okay. And it should not be greater than 100%, as volume of water by volume of void, volume of water can never be greater than the total volume of void, so it should not be greater than 100%, okay. Now degree of saturation and type of soil, okay. If degree of saturation equals to 0%, it is called dry soil. If 0 to 25%, it is called humid soil. Write it down. And if it is 100%, it is called fully saturated. Dry soil to fully saturated, the middle all term is called partially saturated, okay. Next term is what air content, that means how much air the soil have with respect to its total volume of void. Solid, water, air. Volume of air by total volume. Total volume means volume of air plus volume of water. Okay. If air content equals to 0, that means there is no air. Volume of air equals to 0. That means it is a saturated soil. Only water present there. Okay. If equals to 1, that means volume of air equals to volume of void. So Vv by Vv equals to 1. Equals to 1. Okay. So that means there is no water present. That's why it is called dry soil. Now, if we add these two terms, degree of saturation and air content, Va by Vv plus Vw by Vv. Air content means volume of air by volume of void, and degree of saturation means volume of water by volume of void. That means Va plus Vw by Vv. Vv by Vv equals to 1. So if we add these two terms, air content plus degree of saturation, it is equals to 1. Okay. Now percentage air void, that means total volume of air by total volume of soil. Va by V, not Vv. It deals with the total volume of soil. Va by V. It may be if percentage air void equals to 0, that means no air present here. That's why it is a saturated soil. Okay. If no air, if air is absent, only water. Air is absent, percentage air void. If air is absent, Va will equals to 0. Then only water will be present there. So that's why it is called a saturated soil. It may not be equals to 100% as it deals with the total volume. So its range is 0 to 100. Eta A equals to Va by V. Percentage air void equals to Va by V. Va by V, then multiply it with Vv by Vv. Okay. Then Va by Vv and this V remove and Vv by V. And what does that mean, Va by Vv? That is air content. Va by Vv, air content. And what does this term signify? Vv by V equals to porosity. That means percentage air void equals to air content into porosity. Important formula in case for comparative exam purpose. Percentage air void equals to air content into porosity. So today we have learned about 6 index properties of soil. First, what we have learned, that is water content. Water content means weight of water by weight of solid. Second term we have learned, that is void ratio. Void ratio means volume of void by volume of solid. Third term is porosity, volume of void by total volume. Fourth term is degree of saturation, volume of water by volume of void. Fifth term is air content, volume of air by volume of void. If we add air content with degree of saturation, the summation result will be 1. Air content plus degree of saturation equals to 1. And the last term we have taught that percentage air void, volume of air by total volume. Now I am giving you a assignment, and do all the assignment math, and in the comment section submit your answer and I will reply you there. Okay, thank you.